I should not blame the college life activities as the reason for losing track in the career. In fact, the track was never lost since there was no such aim that I defined for myself from the career prospect, or one can say that I was trackless since birth. The assumption in my childhood and adolescence of considering studies as a source to get a job which is good enough to get you money was somewhat right, but I still feel like any other individual. Not following my passion was a mistake that I committed during my initial phase of education by continuing with the normal method of studies, which is generally engineering in most of the Indian middle class homes. One selects the generalized path when he is not able to find a path of his own. And since already study hard to be successful was a thought which never interfered between me and my happiness, I never gave a push to my brain to get something done about my career. I thought since everyone is opting for an engineering degree, then obviously it must be the shortest and the easiest path to get a decent job, and I guess it was true. But the offer of becoming an engineer and getting a job instantly didn't include the facility of satisfying your passion. Rather, one who gets a job in the easiest way later regrets not having given themselves more time to find something satisfying and worthy. Anyway, I was done with my graduation and I started with my corporate life. So, this corporate world, in my opinion, should be a place where the employees are working in a collaborative manner with an agile environment and are adding value to the product they make or maybe the client they serve. But this high level definition is not actually the practical one to mention in the current world. The corporate world, which I experienced as a newcomer, was very different than what I had thought of. Here, the people are much more selfish than me, and finding the right person in the crowd was a task with the least probability of success. The employees have nothing to do with the activity of adding value, rather, they are just struggling to add value to their own welfare in every possible wrong way, which may later become their regret, but not sure why it's still done by them. Sometimes I really find it very easy to compare their state with the crowd which huddles up when the relief items are distributed during some flood or a drought or a tsunami. Busy doing nothing was their prime goal, and mentality was the worst one can ever come across. I have been a part of this corporate world for a very short time and at a very grassroots level. Hence, I'm not much aware of the actual system and the broader view present behind this. I've just experienced all the things which were noticed and observed by me at my level. There may be some world in corporate where there is a bunch of people who are good by nature and have sense of adding value by whatever they do. But till now, I have never got a chance to visit or see such place ever in my life. The experience that I'm constantly sharing with you here as a part of this assignment are too common and basic, but the only thought which I want to convey with all this blabbering is what is the next thing to do once you are fully aware of the lack of happiness in this world. Are we all going the right path by just working in a way which is sufficient enough just for a minor contribution to the overall welfare? Or do we have a better capacity to do something which is far more fruitful and constructive than what we are doing currently? Why not to push ourselves only for a thing that we are interested in doing, may it be any constructive activity? Why not to utilize time in judging the impacts which we can create for the society with something that we like? There was a line in Bernard Shaw's Pygmalion where Professor Higgins mentions the statement, "Lucky is the man whose passion is his profession." First, let us all be convinced with this statement and then realize that the being lucky manually was something illogical. Till the time we were unaware of this statement. But now, why not to become lucky by pushing ourselves towards our passion and making it a recognizable profession? We all know it very well that the very education system of the society is the barrier against this movement of being lucky. But this is something which is not under our control till the time we are not united to change it. But in any case, for now, on a personal level, being an energetic youth of this world, we can try to enter ourselves into some sort of a passionate activity at least. The sense of satisfaction that we will receive from those individual passionate activities of ours will relieve us from the infinite medications that we may be needing at certain point of time if we just continue with doing whatever we don't want to do with zero passion and interest. The world is too big to be united into one, and even if we try to do so, then it may take another 200 years in the process. Hence, at least at national level, with the span of this current youth generation, we all can introduce some sort of a change in the complete system of the society where the sense of interest is valued much more than the sense of survival. Once the interest is developed, the individual will automatically run for survival, since his staying alive will become very much necessary to keep his passion alive. Whereas if we just educate in such a way that the person is set out in this world with just a mere sense of survival, he or she will end up being a robo, which for sure has started happening in the youths. Soon, with this approach and population explosion, the competition will rise, and gradually the people of this world will reach a saturation point where their own brain will become their enemy. And if practiced for a sufficiently larger duration, then probably this poor sense of survival in a rat race will become the part of the human genetics, and then will be the time when the naturally made equal divisions of intellect and wisdom in human brain will be hampered with much higher percentage of intellect in the brain than wisdom. I'm not sure how miserable this world will be then. This attempt of encouraging everyone to follow their passions will resultantly contribute to an efficient distribution of right people at the right places. Even after the presence of infinite people to work, still we have a scarcity of skilled resources in every field. Imagine a world where every field of work is comprising of only passionate resources who are all above this concept of working on hourly basis, considering the salary at the end of the month as the only fruit, and forcibly taking their job seriously just for the sake of survival. The moment there will be an initiation of a shift in the mentality of youth, when they will be free from the thought of survival and will start pushing themselves towards their passion, the world will experience a big crisis of resources in most of the fields of work which are trending these days just for survival's sake. And the fields which are less known as an aim to achieve post-education will come more in the picture. This will be the time when we will be able to do justice to the current trending fields by then supplying only the passionate resources to them. The most common question which may be asked against this opinion of mine will be, from where we will get money to survive when we are involved in developing our passion? That's perfectly a valid question to answer when I have decided to convince my listeners towards the thought of adding value to our passion. So the lack of social security and poor education system are the two biggest barriers which are stopping people from entering their passions. See, all that I am talking about will sound sensible only for the society which is devoid of illiteracy and poverty. Let the government manage them in their rescue from the crisis. We can at least reduce the burden of the government by thinking and solving every problem of ours on our own. Arranging food, cloth, and shelter is not a big deal for any educated guy in this country. The issue arises when it comes to arranging various other liabilities. Let's start saving money just for the sake of insurance. Let's utilize every insurance and healthcare policy, whether from the government or private, as a tool to survive, and make sure that from financial aspect our capabilities are sufficient to arrange money just by paying the required premium to these companies, so that at least we get rid of the worry of dying unattended when we are old and miserable and sick. This may sound to be a bit lame thought, but seriously, for now I can avail you with this solution only. At least a sense of basic financial security will allow you to invest more towards your passion. The moment we are more aware of these healthcare and insurance facilities, we will start investing more towards them, and their business will grow. There will be better offers by them to share with us. This generation may face a bit of issue since it's the first step towards a blissful development, but probably the next one will be at peace, and not the education system, but at least social security will be at a better state by then. People consider this opinion only if there is at least a single step of security taken by the generation above. Struggle should be continued for those who are not currently in a fully secured financial state. I beg all my readers not to judge me with this idea of mine, rather, ignore it with a smile in case you find it lame. I believe in having sufficient money to get an insurance so that money doesn't become a barrier when it comes to your physical well-being and health. Rest can be managed without it too. God had blessed us with many great sponsors throughout our life who have taken care of us whenever we were in a need, and for whenever we were in a need or a requirement, and also they will be supporting as long as they can, and we all will be sufficient to earn and live decently on our own. These statements, when said by a 20 or a 25 or 30-year-old guy who is at a very foundation of his career, may sound too unambitious as per the trend, but I seriously don't care about this at all. For me, gaining new blissful experiences is a driver, and adding value to this bliss and making it into ecstasy is my goal. Good nature, good character, curiosity to know, and add to my wisdom are my best practices throughout this process. I believe there will be a day for sure when I will get a freedom to know more about spirituality with support of Indian heritage we have in the form of Indian scriptures. If I can know all these principles of spirituality in my life, I will be contented to stay in peace for the rest. The question is what the plan is for bringing this great day of freedom into real. For now, every mind is clueless, too immature to suggest a firm plan of this journey. But when it comes to defining the current visible blur glimpse, I feel that everyone should start with some venture where they give more importance to nurturing the passion instead of nurturing the skill of survival. Everyone needs to decide to start a venture in the field of education where we will get a good chance to learn and get the kids learn in a right way, the way that is very close to the methods of teaching of this country, unlike the foreign methods that are too prevalent in the current education system. Please don't mistakenly consider this plan of mine to be an institute producing saints and sages and sadhus. But yes, it will be a place where being a better person will be the theme instead of the poor and most prevalent theme of being a rich person. I know there already have been several projects with such an aim, which later got adulterated with the narrow sense of competition and ended up being the same old institutions or a robo manufacturing machine, basically. But there are a number of foundations that have successfully implemented this, and if all such foundations get united into one central board of education, then probably the education system of this country will become good enough to take the very first step towards its reform. I know nothing can be visualized for now since the complete plan is not even in the analysis stage, rather, ideation is still partial. But still, in a nutshell, we all for sure will come out with some permanent job in our lives which will be far more soothing and satisfying than anything which we could do. Leaving it again all upon you. I'm not a motivational speaker or I'm not a preacher who will be giving you teachings. I'm just here to share my thoughts, and it's your job to find an alignment with my thoughts, or probably find some sort of similarity between the two, and use my sharings and get things rightly done out here. Thank you, guys.